All right, family. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarasun Seti. Kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. Family, I'm excited and delighted to be accepting members to the Sarasun Seti YouTube page, a dynamic page. Y'all already know what it is. Black Power, Black Frequency. You feeling that frequency and energy, you should most definitely join. Link right down in the video description in the chat says join, click that. You get a video introduction rundown on the membership, what they entail. You see one you like, you should most definitely join, even if you don't. I appreciate your presence here at the Sarah Soon Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. Ring the alarm, kingseti.com, online marketplace, official General Sarah Soon Seti DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor accessories for every room in the house. We got you, family. 25% off selected items at this time. Save and shop and save. Pull the fire alarm, generalseti.com, SETI University, over 1,200 videos of pure heat, dynamic presentations by General SETI. Uh, Again, I just dropped some fire on there today. You also have access to the supplemental, also monumental and instrumental research material of the Grandmaster Teachers, plus an overview from General SETI on the Grandmaster Teachers, giving you 360 degrees of supreme African wisdom and knowledge, academics that cannot be compared to by any other website on the planet. Check it out, family. Be amazed. And everybody knows SETI popping on Patreon, BPC making noise. We never come, exclusive live streams. Man, we got some fire all to the end of the month. You understand? Every day. So you should be on there. We got some fire coming on in about an hour or so. So you most definitely should tune in, check it out. Look at the menu. You got exclusive material fire that you know you want to have access to. You want them jewels. So become a patron today. All the family donate to the general. I want to thank you, and I appreciate you for appreciating me. To any of the family out there that want to donate, the link is in the video description, is in the chat. Donate, and I thank you ahead of time. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels: King SETI, General SETI, Sarasu SETI. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it, share with your family and friends, and comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. Okay? All right. Let's get busy, family. We got a powerful one up today. Ancient African navigators from Africa to India and beyond. Yeah, I got to straighten that one out. I don't know what I was writing. Let me straighten that one up. Yes, indeed. Yeah, let me straighten that up. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I see. All right. Just had to go in there and make a quick edit. All right. Let me get my presentation up. Let's go to work. Now, what we talking about here is how, our people being a people of the water. You can see, being in Africa with so many rivers that, our people mastered many of the lakes, the rivers, all over Africa, from the top to the bottom, from the east to the west. Let me get it in here. Okay, here we go. Right here. Bingo. That's what I need. Yes, indeed. And see, this is what we have to understand about our people, that we know, you know, the stars and the stellar, the constellation, because we were navigating the planet, putting ourselves in geographical positions where we could see, you know, the constellations and the stars from every vantage point on the planet. You see every vantage point on the planet. When you go, into the history of Egypt, Nubia, you see what they, you could see by far that, their connection to the river. That's why the river Nile was a deity. It was looked at, as one that the great benefactor. Everybody benefited from the river, whether it was water, whether it was fish and food, traveling, to and fro from, the southern regions of Africa, you see. And so, our people heavily connected to the river, rivers all over Africa, not just the Nile. You see, as many great rivers. These are lakes right here. You got, the largest river being the Nile, over 4,160 miles long, the longest and most mighty river on the planet. Okay, the mighty Nile, the most sacred river on the planet by far, the Nile. And then you got the Congo River, which is 2,900 miles. That's a pretty long river. That's a pretty long river now. Real talk. And then you got Niger. You got the Niger River, 2,504 miles. Okay, that's in West Africa, the heart and vital life force of West Africa. And you got the Zambezi River, 1,646-mile Orange River, 1,155 miles. So, Africa has a lot of large rivers. Some people get one, maybe two. We talking about great rivers. You see, we talking about, so 2,900 miles, and, the top four is pretty long rivers. And so what happens is, these rivers cross over into so many different uh countries in Africa. So these is highways, you know. These is highways, and you talking about bringing resources from the interior of Africa down into the Nile, interior Africa into the lower regions, northern regions of the Nile, down into Egypt. So they were carrying, crazy resources from the interior. So these are the highways of Africa. These are the highways of Africa. And if you were, if you had any real trade going on, somehow you had to get some of your peoples on these rivers. Because if the next man was moving on the river and you was on the backs of animals, he gonna beat you to the punch. He gonna beat you to the punch. You know what I'm saying? That's how technology is. That's how technology is, you see. And so you have to advance. And so this was the advancing system in Africa. Dr. Ben said they was on a river before they was even on the backs of horses. So our people took to the river first. You see, they mastered the rivers first. They mastered the lakes. Now, when you're talking about Lake Victoria, there is no Victorias in Africa. I must state that. This is a criminally renamed lake under imperialism. But if you go to a map, okay, that's what it will say. So for the sake of you understanding the lesson in whole, we'll clear it up. Titles and names, we'll clear that up after the fact. But just to make, so we can get proper understanding of the lesson, we say Lake Victoria, Lake Albert, Lake Rudolph. Ain't no goddamn Rudolphs in no Africa, or no Lake Alberts. You see, no Lake Edwards. See, these crackers got high and thought they was in Britain some damn where, and so they just went to, naming things that did not belong to them. And at some point in time, we're gonna have to rename them and properly name. And in Africa, they do have their own indigenous name, but by the river being in so many different nations that you could have 6 and 7 names, for the Nile, particular lakes. You have one nation that calls it, this, you got one nation that calls it that. But there are indigenous African names to the lakes, and we have to become again relearned into African language, and identifying African land and people and all things African by African language. You see, this is just another way of you know continuing on the legacy of suppression and oppression, to continue to call this shit out like this. Late, I mean, change that shit. You know what I'm saying? Change that shit. Make something official in Africa where, it's official. This is the name. And I'm going to go in there and look. And if it's some official name, then it should be recognized. I don't know why we would continue to be calling out these wenches, these goddamn and these damn no good Cro-Magnon Neanderthals, and they the very genocidal maniacs, you see, that has caused so much bloodshed in Africa, and got they raggedy ass names on things that don't belong to them. And so you even see over here in West Africa, you see the you got the Niger, you got great tributaries to a lot of these rivers. And so you see the Senegal, the Gambia, Volta, you got all these mighty tributaries. And this just show you that, man, Africa is more linked than a lot of people. Yeah, you might have to get off and yeah, you might have to get off and get on some the back of animals and shit, and for a minute, but it'll be time where, you know what I'm saying, you can get back on the water. So probably, that in this instance, they probably had, barges, small little barges where they could put the animals on. They probably sell the animals too. When they get to a point, if you get to a point where it's all land and shit, you have to walk. You have to take your packages, put them on your animals, whether it be camel, whatever it is, and then you walk it to the next river, and then you feel me. You put it, you open up your boats and put it back on water. You see, but it looks like it's a large part of Africa that is connected. They don't show these tributaries, because if you seen the tributaries, you will see how connected Africa is. You see, it is well, is well connected with rivers. And so our people were going all over Africa without no problem. You see, and with this is when they on the rivers of Africa and on the lakes of Africa is where they begin to master, you know, water, building boats. You see, building boats, and then they would take, first the Red Sea. I would think so. That they would that is probably the closest is the other side of the Red Sea. Where points of it is not so far, such as the point down there in on the Horn of Africa. Let me see if I can grab some on the Horn of Africa. Yeah, right here you can see, right, up in them areas where you can get, and so they mastered probably going across that Red Sea, going across that Red Sea, and and probably little short runs from uh lower Egypt into the area what you want to call Canaan, Israel, because it's close. So you can sail into some of them islands down there in the Mediterranean too. You know what I'm saying? So and from that point on, and ain't no telling, African people have been uh developing maritime for hundreds of thousands of years. When you talk about some of these tribes that in the southeast Pacific, and a lot of them sail right on across, all the way across the Indian Ocean. Some took to following the edges of the landmass. You know what I'm saying? And, the boundaries of the landmass. Some went all the way across. And so as they began to, especially on this eastern side of Africa, the monsoons would carry them, directly into India. You see, and that's why I believe that India is older than Sumeria. I believe India is older than Samaria. They try to make Samaria seem, but I believe India is older than Samaria. They had a much more developed architecture than Samaria. Samaria was building in mud. Now these is all African, because you're gonna see that when you talk about Sumeria, which is right here in the Persian Gulf, all of these civilizations started in the south. Every last one of them started in the south. Now, and so even when you talk about the Indian civilization, it started right here on the Indus Kush. Let me see if I can get a proper. Wait a minute. Where's that other geography one? Okay. Let me see if I can grab one off of here. Appropriate. I got some good maps. But yeah, and that's when our people took that civilization to the monsoon. Now, ain't no, you gonna see Arabian Sea. Ain't no damn Arabian Sea. Arabs are damn goat herders. What the hell they gonna, be attached to a damn sea, and they ass is wandering through the goddamn desert? That's to show you right there. They just naming shit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no business name. Just slap a goddamn name on it. Ain't got nothing to do with it. You see? Ain't got nothing to do with it right here. Let me see. Well, I could use, I mean, I already got that. I already got that. But I was trying to show, oh yeah, I was trying to show y'all the Hindu, the Hindu Kush. Let me see if I got this Indian. Okay, here go some right here. Here go one. Let me drop this in. Yeah, let me drop that in. Let me see if I can get another good one. Let me see if I can get another good one. Okay, here it go. Here go one right here. Let me drop this one in. Yeah, so you see right here coming up, even before you go into the Persian Gulf. You see over here to the left, this is the this is the Indus. This is where civilization started for the Indian civilization. This was the earliest area, the Mohen, Daro, and the Harappian culture. It started right here off the sea, though. Okay, so it show you that as our people, mastering, and sailing on the monsoons, and the monsoons is the trade winds. You got the monsoon, that rain and wind, and so from June to September, they carry, mariners, navigators from Africa to India, not only India, into East Asia. India, the Cambodia over there, what they call Angkor Wat, Cham, which we talking about. This is how they, and that's why they call them the Mon Khmer, because they came on the monsoons from Africa. That's where they came from, the Mon Khmer. And so from September to March, you see they blow back. They blow back. So when it's time to return, or the Africans and Asians in Asia that want to do trade with Africa, they know September and March is, the months they need to be going to Africa, especially if they're carrying large loads and things of that nature. If they're carrying large loads, they got to get in the wind. That's where you get the term, get in the wind. Get in the wind. And so you have to get in the wind. And so, yeah, this is how they dictated trade on the Indian Ocean. And so when you're talking about the Indian Ocean, you talking about the first world. Okay, you talking about the first world. When you talk about all that you see on this, Africa is the first world, but this is the second world. Okay, so when you looking from Africa all the way to Australia and the southern peripheral of Asia, you see India, Thailand, what's that? Cambodia, Vietnam. You see the Philippines. You talking about Indonesia. You got to understand what the populations that you see there today have not always been there. Okay. Now, what they're not also showing you that there are many islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So when you look and you say, well, goddamn, how is a nigga gonna sell the whole of the Indian Ocean over to Indonesia and Australia and so on? And what these people do, they get in the habit of not showing the islands that are out there. So there is a lot of stopovers that you can stop just going straight across. You can bypass the whole continent of Asia. You might run into the southeastern islands in Indonesia. You might have to run into them. It's hard. It's hard. But if you want to navigate around it, you can navigate around. It's not a problem. All you had to do is come up and sail through. But more than likely, this, Indonesia probably would have been a stopover. But the Africans literally sail all the way across. So some skirted the edges of the continent. Staying close to the continent, just sailing around the boundary of the continents. Just sticking close to land, and just sailing all the way around till you can't sail no more. Some did it like that. Some just, they were more courageous and they just sailed on till they got to an island, sailed back, and then, put some on the island and go out a little further. Just we gonna go out these many clicks and whatever, we gonna come back until they made it all the way across. And it's obvious that our people had done that, you talking about 60,000 years ago. 60,000 years ago. They in order for them to be on that ocean, they got to have ocean faring arcs and boats. Yeah, some, I seen some people get out there on a little ark, but we got to be serious. When we talking about nations that have graduated to, having so much trade and so much commerce, you can't be out there on no little ass raft. Yeah, you will sell your ass and a damn whale will come and eat your ass in the middle of the ocean. You got to have something out there where you can feel some security. You see what I'm saying? And so, yes, our people, and the thing is, as our people moved across the oceans and as they charted the ocean, they charted the stars. This is how they, one of the things, how our people is so dynamic in cosmological and astronomical information is because they set up almost universities all around the world and communicated with each other, getting readings from different points on the planet, actually mapping out, the whole of the southern hemisphere. From a cosmological standpoint, they had charted the whole of the southern hemisphere. You see, and I don't know how successful they were in charting the whole of the northern hemisphere, which would require you, I guess, you know what I'm saying, to be as far north as possible. So I don't know how far that went, but I know from the southern hemisphere perspective that in which is the choice of the stellar astronomical research, because the southern hemisphere is the beginning of the galaxy, of our galaxy. The central point of the galaxy is in the southern hemisphere. The black hole from which this galaxy was born is in the southern hemisphere, and actually it sits in the center of the Milky Way. And so, man, how dynamic is this information that our ancestors would know this 4,000 and 5,000 years BC? They already knew it. Okay, they already knew that. And so as we mastered the oceans, we mastered the stars. And that's why I try to touch on all the university and subordinate universities, because the chief university is in the Nile River. The chief universities was at Waset, which they call Thebes and Luxor. This is where you had the great temple of Karnak. You had the Grand Lodge where all priests were initiated, which they called the Temple of Luxor. And so that was one of the great universities. Then you had Napata down in Nubia was one of the great university systems, then cities. And then you also had Memphis and Heliopolis, one of the great centers of education, and so these were the grand lodges, and they set up subordinate lodges wherever our people, they being being navigators, you see, explorers, being explorers and reaching out. They set up these universities, keeping in link with the Grand Lodge. And so they was taking calculations all over the planet. And this is why we are the most advanced people on the planet in all calculations of the stars, astronomical and so on. The Dogon and many more, that, have a great science that came out of the ancient world. And so we have to, and this is a preview of what we still must do. When we start talking about being masters of the planet and being masters of ourselves, we have to master the cosmos. We have to master all things within the galaxy. You see, and of course, geography, geology, astronomy, and cosmology are four of the great schools of learning that must be, attended by all the priests. These are four mandatory subjects that we must learn, so we can remaster ourselves and and in doing so, when we connect to these profound subjects, dealing with it, it leads to other subjects of the cosmological foundation that we need, and the uh, geometric and geology. All of those are in alignment with one another. When you start studying geography, and it'll bring you to geometry, which is the how you measure the earth, so it's going to bring you to math, and it's going to bring you to more of the great sciences. And so studying geography, studying geology, studying astronomy and cosmology is divine. Divine, family. So, you know, we want to give homage to our ancestors. We want to give homage to our ancestors that navigated all over this planet. Yeah. Let me get in here. What did I say? Yeah. When What's up, L Sut Typhon? What's happening? Well, I see you say Fayum. What you was talking about? The Fayum. Yeah. The Fayum, that's the water, where the water back up, you know, during the time of the inundation of the Nile. You see what I'm saying? I know where that's at. Yeah. I wasn't watching the comments, so I'll watch them the next time. I didn't really catch what you was trying to say. But you know, we'll touch on it in the next presentation. I ain't going nowhere. We just getting started, family. This is General Sarasun Seti saying, hey, arm yourself with knowledge, bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.